you spoke very passionately about Ukraine's desire to win. And most people watching would share that emotion that the people of Ukraine are dealing with an unjust, unfair war, and that ideally Ukraine should win. But in a realistic military sense, how do you think this battle could end, this war could end in a way with Zelensky and the Ukrainian army and people winning?
Well, we definitely very well understand that our courage and our heroism of our armed forces is not enough to win. And even the unity of all the society is not enough to win. Nevertheless, what we are counting on, and that's why we are reaching out to all the nations who can provide us with some backing, is to give us instruments in order to be able to win. And that envisages a couple of things. First is heavy weaponry given to Ukraine so that we can push Russians out from our soil. That's one thing. Secondly, definitely we see the difficulties in holding this unity with sanctions in the EU right now with the 6th package of sanctions. But I think that exactly sanctions should be another leverage of pressure on the Russian Federation. And third, we definitely need the understanding that there is a financial backing for Ukraine in order to be able to just meet the basic needs that are there today. Not to mention, I think that even during this Davos forum here, a lot has been surfacing with regard to potential food crisis. And I would like all of us to understand that food crisis is not because someone has imposed sanctions on Russian Federation, but that is because Russian Federation invaded unjustly, unprovokedly Ukraine. And that means that maybe we can get more nations on board with helping Ukraine to reach to that point to win. What's your sense, Mr. Stubb, before I end, of whether these sanctions are working as a tool of war? Have economic sanctions done enough damage? And what more should or could the EU be doing to try and put greater pressure on Putin to end the war?
Sanctions are never a magic bullet, but they are an instrument of war. And we've seen 5 waves of sanction coming from the European Union, 6th one on the way. We've seen sanctions from the UK, the US, many other places. We have to understand the base case here, and that is that Russia will be utterly and completely isolated. That means politics, finance, economics, culture, sport, transport, and eventually energy. These just happen step by step. Now, I live in a country with 1,340 kilometers of border. Do I feel comfortable living to the biggest North Korea in the world? No, I don't. But this is the harsh reality and the value-based choice that we have to take in this particular situation. So sanctions are a big part of what's going on. Will they be enough? Never. But without them, we would not be where we are at the moment.
Martin Wolf, your sense on whether the economic sanctions that have been imposed have done enough punitive damage? Do they act as a deterrent? Are they really hurting Putin in the way that they should?
They're certainly hurting Russia, but unfortunately sanctions are always a limited tool, and the particular difficulty here is that because energy prices have risen, and because Russia is an energy exporter and is able to continue to export energy products, oil worldwide and gas to Europe, its actual fiscal revenue from energy exports and its energy export revenue has risen. So we have to recognize, this is why the war is such a difficult challenge for, obviously for Ukraine, but for all its allies, that the tools we have at the moment are economic tools are of only modest effect. And that's why the military support and the support for Ukraine directly, financially and so forth, is so crucial. Russia will not be destroyed by our sanctions. The Russian society will be profoundly transformed as a result of Putin's choices.
One of the points made by the International Monetary Fund is the fear of technical recession in certain geographies. Are you concerned that with rising commodity prices, with rising inflation, with interest rates going up, that the whole bounce back on the back of the pandemic is now badly derailed in some geographies, including potentially the US, could definitely see slowing growth and possibly even recession?
I think in the West, in Europe, because of the things you've mentioned, plus the risk of an energy cut-off, which would certainly be very damaging economically, that's just a fact. And in America, because of very high inflation, the tightening which will follow, a very significant slowdown, if not a recession, is probable, and not possible. and the rest of the world will be affected by that for completely different reasons, mainly related to the COVID policy. China's economy is clearly slowing down dramatically. I don't think we'll go into a technical recession, but it's slowing dramatically. That will start bringing commodity prices down, by the way. But yes, we are, I think, very clearly moving into a year, the next 12 months, of very considerable economic slowdown in the major economies of the world.